spirits, but she felt extinguished and they needed to be in bed. "Where's Appa?" "I don't know." "I want Appa." Hunmin began wailing. Sungmin ran out, leaving a wet trail behind him as he leapt on the bedding on the floor. Dressing the boys quickly, she turned off the light, threatening to leave them to fall asleep alone if they didn't calm down. The words had the desired effect. They both fell onto the bedding as if wounded, and Se got down to lie between them. They writhed, tossed, and fidgeted in the heat. The boys gripped her earlobes. She was their jungle gym, their plaything, their anchor. Hunmin's hand grew heavy as he rolled over and yawned, sleepily tugging at her t-shirt. At 2 years old, he was still in the habit of nursing himself to sleep, but she had resolved to wean him. She held his hand and squeezed it. No. Sungmin's breathing changed, calmed, but his eyes remained open at some fixed point on the cracked ceiling. Hearing a noise outside, Se held her breath, fearing Jae had chosen this very moment to come home. All her hard work to calm them would be undone if the boys saw their father. But moments passed. There were no creeping steps, only the sounds of the whirring, aging refrigerator in the kitchen, the low white noise of distant traffic on the freeway, the boys' rhythmic breathing. They had finally stopped squirming. Their long eyelashes lay still. How beautiful and miraculous they were in the darkness, with sleep between them. The first thing Jay did when he came home late was to look in on the boys, huddled together in their slumber, like a thief reassuring himself of the safety of stolen jewels. She loved that he never took them for granted, that he did not share in her ambivalence, spending hours loving them and longing to be apart from them, to be distant and present at once. She wanted them to grow up. She wanted them to stay small. Jay's devotion was a source of wholesomeness in their relationship, but in his treasuring of them, she also saw a specter of a childhood spent wanting. For him, family was an elusive thing, a fish slipping out of his grasp. Stillness did not suit the boys. Se felt an anxious tangle in her stomach. A premonition, perhaps. She left the room to resist the impulse to wake them. As she lit a green coil to ward off mosquitoes, the anger she had felt slid into worry. It was 8:30. She paged Jay. It wasn't like him not to call. All day the air had held in its fist the threat of an unforgiving summer. Soon the monsoon season would arrive, bringing with it the unwelcome lodger, a humid creature who would come to live in their books and bedding, clothes and cushions. There was glory in this stickiness, the way it invited them to peel off their layers, soaking in the humid evening heat, unable to sleep, suddenly open to each other. He had never been a man of many words, but for months Jay had seemed preoccupied and distant, troubled by his project at Aspiration Tower, and was even quieter than usual. Then recently, a series of power cuts had seized the city, and in the evenings, when there was no light to work, they had taken to sitting on the balcony, passing a can of cold beer between them, and she had felt him return to her. Se stepped out onto the balcony, looking at Jay's empty seat. The countless windows of the apartments in the block facing hers appeared to her as a stack of miniature screens projecting similar lives. These glimpses were the closest thing she had to the interviews that she had conducted for work, when she'd gathered tumultuous accounts of life under dictatorship. She missed the pace of working at the newspaper, feeling the pulse and beat of breaking stories, but there was a reassuring comfort, too, in the ordinariness of her days at home with the boys. She was pulled from these thoughts by the ring of the phone, and she picked up immediately, afraid the sound would wake the boys. But it wasn't Jay. It was Bora, who lived in the apartment 2 floors above her. "Just checking in, making sure Jay got home all right. You said he was coming home early?" she said. Se could hear that she had food in her mouth and frowned, struck by the formality of a phone call.